So now we're going to go over how to add and subtract fractions. So our first problem is 1/2 plus 1/8. So what do you think you would start with to add these two?
Well, maybe you could add 1 plus 1 and 8 plus 2 and get 2 over 10.
Well, when you're adding fractions, actually you have to get a common denominator first.
Okay.
So
Which one's the denominator?
So the denominator is the number on the bottom. So in 1/2, the denominator would be 2. So is there a number or is there a common denominator that we can make or find so that it's pretty terrible?
No, so what about, so a common denominator you're saying is like they have to have the same number on the bottom. Okay, so
Did we start over? Okay.
Or what was my...
We're gonna start over, just like,
Yeah.
okay. Okay, so now we're gonna go over how to add and subtract fractions. So our first problem is 1/2 plus 1/8. So what do you think the first step would be to add these two?
well, you could probably add 1 plus 1 and you get 2 on the top, and then you could add 2 plus 8 and you get 10 on the bottom.
Well, actually, when you're adding fractions, you have to find a common denominator. So we have 1/8, and we have to make this 1/2. We need the denominator to be 8.
Oh, okay, that makes sense. So you could multiply 2 by 4.
Right, so what we're doing is like multiplying by 1. So if you multiply 1/2 by 4, by 4 over 4, then what would this new fraction be?
It would be 4 over 8.
Right, so now we have 4 over 8 plus 1 over 8. And what would you do next?
So now you can add the 4 plus 1 and add the 8 plus 8.
So almost, that's right about the top. You do add 4 plus 1, the denominator stays the same. It's still over 8.
So then you would add 4 plus 1 and you would get 5 over 8.
Yep, perfect.
Okay.
So now let's try this second problem.
Okay.
We have 1/4 plus 2/5. So if you're trying to find the common denominator, what's a number that both 4 and 5 can multiply to?
Well, 4 times 5 is 20 and 5 times 4 is 20, so would that work?
Yeah. So what number or what fraction would you multiply 1/4 by?
1 over 5?
So almost. Remember, you're multiplying by 1 to do this. You can multiply
Okay.
any number by 1 and it stays the same.
Why is 5 over 5 equal to 1?
So any number divided by itself is 1. So 5 divided by 5 is 1.
Okay, so then you multiply 2 over 5 by 5 over 5 as well?
So remember, we're trying to get a common denominator of 20. So 5 times 5 would actually be 25.
Oh.
So this fraction we're going to multiply by 4 over 4.
Okay, so then you have 5 over 20 plus 8 over 20.
So now how would you add those two fractions?
You would add the 5 and the 8 and you would get 13. And then it would be 13 over 20.
Yep.
Okay.
So now number 3. If you have 4 over 8 plus 4 over 12, what do you think you would do first?
Well, because you have the same on the top, can you just keep the same and make it 8 plus 12 and then keep the 4 on the top the same?
So we still need to make a common denominator when adding or subtracting any fraction.
Okay. So, well, 8 goes into 48 and 12 goes into 48.
Or, do you see how 4 over 8 can reduce and 4 over 12 can reduce?
Oh.
So we could reduce these fractions and then go from there and the problem will be easier.
Okay, which one should I reduce?
So let's start with 4 over 8.
Okay, so if I reduce that, they're both divisible by 2. So 4 divided by 2 would be 2, and 8 divided by 2 is 4.
And can you reduce that even more?
2 divided by 2 is 1, and 4 divided by 2 is 2.
So let's just cross that out so we don't get confused.
Okay.
So then how could you reduce 4 over 12?
4 over 12, you could divide 12 by 4, and 4 by 4. So 4 divided by 4 is 1, and 12 divided by 4 is 3.
Yep.
And then I can add them.
Yep, so see, now we have 2 and 3, which is easier to deal with than 8 and 12.
Okay, so 2 times 3 is 6, and 3 times 2 is 6?
So our least common multiple could be 6.
Okay, that makes sense. So I do 3 over 6 plus 2 over 6, and that equals 5 over 6.
Yep. Okay, so now we'll do a subtraction problem.
Okay.
So when you do subtraction, it's the same as addition, how you have to get a common denominator, and then you subtract the numerators. So what do you think the first step would be for this one?
Well, you could multiply 2 by 2 to get 4.
So again, find a common denominator. So multiplying by 1, and what would this fraction be?
It would come out to be 2 over 4 minus 1 over 4. And would that be 1 over 0?
So remember, you subtract the numerators, but the denominator stays the same.
Okay, so then it would become 1 over 4. Okay.
So now we'll try another one.
Oh, this one looks really hard.
So if you have 3/7 minus 2 over 42, is there anything that can be reduced at the start?
No, I don't think so.
So is 42 an even number?
Yeah.
So that means it's divisible by 2.
Oh.
So let's reduce that fraction because it's kind of a big number and that'll make it easier.
So 3 over 7 stays the same?
Yep.
And then 42 divided by 2 is 21, right?
So that's 3/7 minus 2 over 42 is the same as 3/7 minus 1 over 21.
Oh.
So what would the common denominator be now?
Oh, well, 7 times 3 equals 21. Okay, so then I could just multiply this side right here by 3 over 3. Okay, so then 3 times 3 equals 9. And 3 times 7 equals 21. And then you still have your 1 over 21. Okay, and then 9 minus 1 is 8. And then it would just be over 21 still.
Yep, perfect.
Can you reduce that?
So is 21 divisible by 2?
No, because it's not an even number?
Right. And so this doesn't reduce anymore.
Okay.
So now we have our last problem. So if we have 4 minus 1/3, what would be the first step for this one?
I don't know because it's a whole number.
So remember, all whole numbers, that's the same as 4 over 1.
Oh, so you could multiply it by 3 over 3.
Yep, and then you get your common denominator.
Of 3.
Yep. So
Okay,
what would
so
that,
then it
that
would
fraction
be 12 over 3 minus 1 over 3, and that would equal 11 over 3?
Yep, perfect.
Wow. Okay.